Well, the last 2 days were quite eventful. I got to the south and I found big winds, probably more wind than I really needed, and some fairly colossal seas, to the point in which I really had to slow origami down and drop a lot of sail. But it was quite an experience, and it did inspire confidence in the boat as ever. It didn't quite gain the distance I hoped, and then yesterday was a big contrast with very little or no wind nearly all the day, and then last night had a couple of squalls and the wind shifted about 180 degrees. The Aries, I'm really grateful for all your advice, by the way, on how to get the best out of it, but being on a broad reach and a beat at various times during the night, the Aries performed really well and I was able to catch a bit of sleep. I slept a bit too long, and as the wind veered or lifted me, I ended up sailing a bit further north of the Great Circle route than I wanted. But that was that. The downside is, in the course of the night, trying not to fall out of my bunk, I think I've sprained or put into spasm my lower sacroiliac joint on my back. So I'm kind of lying here trying to sort of ease it up a bit. I think it's going to be about 3 days of spasm and pain, and ideally a boat that's not moving too much, which is not the case here. So I'm a bit disappointed, but I'll try and fight through this. It's the cabin actually dried out yesterday in lighter winds, but with the squalls overnight it's become really humid again. I'm beginning to smell pretty damp and horrible, but I remembered I had some tiger balm, which served two purposes. It meant that I could massage and ease my lower back a bit, and that's helping. And it also means the cabin smells a bit nicer. Well, if you like tiger balm, that is. I just have to remember not to rub my eyes for about the next 24 hours, I guess. The beeping, again, I had a question about that, is the Echo Max active radar transponder. So it enhances my radar signature from typical navigation band radars on merchant ships and fishing vessels and some yachts that they're fitted with them. And it just makes it easy for me to see, but the alarm tells me that it's being pinged and that there is a ship or a radar X-ray Sierra band within horizon range, but radar horizon range, so probably about 12 miles. So I may not see it, it may be a spurious alarm, but it's just one of those things that provides some reassurance. Anyway, I'll give you further updates, but hopefully this back thing's gonna not hold me up too much. I'm having to rely on the Aries to sort of do a lot of the work at the moment, at least till I can ease up some of the spasm and go back on deck to work the boat. But let's see how it goes. Well, that's 3 days so far of back pain, spasm, lying prone in the boat, trying to re-establish my condition to race the boat properly again. It's pretty painful. And mercifully the winds haven't been too bad. I can set the boat up, and really if you've seen any erratic progress, it's because she's just following a relative wind course, progressing generally to the west towards Tonga. So although at one point the boat did make a bit of diversion, which be heading straight to Palmerston Island, which I didn't appreciate till it was about 40 miles away, so thankfully noticed that and was able to actually crawl out on deck, which took about an hour, and jibe the boat, which took about another half hour, so not particularly quick, and then about 4 hours to try and recover from the pain afterwards. But anyway, we carry really good comprehensive first aid kit. We have to for the boat, so taking tramadol, diazepam, muscle relaxants and opioid painkillers. So there's lots of happy stuff on the boat, so enough to keep morale up, I guess, as I get better. And I think really, I've said 72 hours for spasm normally to go. We're getting close to that. Maybe the boat movement drags it on a little bit longer, but hopefully back into this race fairly soon. Remember, we're not really halfway around the world yet, so okay, I might have lost 4 days or so, but it's not quite the end of the world yet. And I've got some time in Fiji to convalesce a bit anyway and get myself back up to fighting fitness. I think what's wrong is I'm just missing, that's now about 6 months from not racing my laser, racing dinghies, the sort of thing that keeps core strength up, lots of cycling. It's something you have to work out a bit more on a small boat, and I think I'm just paying the consequences of that and just an injury somewhere along the line. Anyway, morale's not that low. I'm going to be back on my feet, I reckon, tomorrow, day after, and line me up nicely to get into Tonga. So I'm 2 days out from Tonga, and this is my least favourite way of sailing. So I've got the main down and 2 spinnakers flying, the A3 and the A5, the 2 largest spinnakers. And the Aries is doing its job quite nicely, just keeping the boat on a pretty steady track, dead downwind. And looking at the swell, it seems to be building, so I'm hoping there's some breeze on the way, because the northern group that are sailing out of Vavau have got a bit more breeze than those of us sailing from Pangai. Eric will be leaving about now, and I think he'll be leaving in quite light breeze and sun there. And at the moment I'm just a bit behind Pilar and ahead of Dan Turk, so there's quite a lot to do to hold on to my position or try and move up the pack in this race to Fiji, where it looks as though the breeze is going to drop off entirely just before we reach the island. So it's going to be a difficult sail into Nandi. The good news is actually my back's a lot better. I've still got a numb thigh from some nerve damage, but otherwise pretty good, and I'm able to concentrate a bit more on racing. But this, like I say, is my least favourite way of sailing, because it doesn't really feel very racy to me. Oh well. So filming by moonlight on the third night out from Tonga, as I'm passing through the southern group Lau Islands. It's pretty tight navigation because there are coral reefs, atolls and islands strewn all the way around here, so I'm threading my way through. But the moon kept me good company overnight, and we're just about approaching sunrise. So in about half an hour we should see the sun.